Laura loved the night sky. Every evening, she would sit by her window, her sketchbook open, drawing the twinkling stars. She knew each constellation by heart. But one special night something felt different. The stars seemed dimmer, as if their glow was fading. Just as she worried, a tiny golden firefly with shimmering wings appeared, speaking in a voice like a whisper of wind. "The stardust is missing," it said. "Without it, the night sky will grow dark forever." Laura's heart raced. Would she be brave enough to help find the lost stardust and save the stars? If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more magical adventures. Chapter 1. The Fading Stars and a Golden Spark. The deepening twilight was Laura's favorite time of day. It was that magical, hushed transition when the vibrant, bustling colors of the daytime world gracefully surrendered to the soft, muted palette of approaching night. Outside her window, the last lingering rays of sunlight, painted in shades of fiery orange and soft, tender lavender, stretched across the vast canvas of the sky, blending seamlessly into the deepening blues and purples that heralded the arrival of true darkness. Inside her cozy room, the air was a comforting warmth, gently stirred by the faint, almost imperceptible whisper of a soft breeze through the slightly ajar window. It carried the distant sweet scent of newly mown grass from the park down the street, mingled with the familiar soothing aroma of the freshly laundered sheets on her bed. This was her cherished ritual, a quiet moment of anticipation she looked forward to with all her heart. Every single evening, as the world outside grew still and hushed, Laura would settle into her favorite spot by the window. She would bring her well-loved sketchbook, its pages filled with countless observations and dreams, and a set of soft, colored pencils. She would then patiently wait, her gaze fixed upwards, for the first timid, shimmering appearance of the stars. Oh, how Laura adored the night sky! It was a boundless, wondrous canvas of twinkling lights, a celestial masterpiece that never ceased to fill her with awe and curiosity. She felt a profound, almost personal connection to each tiny pinprick of light that gradually emerged from the encroaching darkness. She knew each constellation by heart, having spent countless hours studying them in her astronomy books and tracing their imaginary lines in the vastness above. She knew the majestic, easily recognizable curve of the Great Bear, its 7 bright stars forming a familiar ladle. She knew the smaller, more elusive Little Dipper, forever pointing towards the steady, unwavering North Star. And she knew even the shy, almost secretive winking stars that only deigned to appear on the clearest, most perfectly pristine nights, their light a faint, delicate whisper in the immense quietude of space. But on this particular evening, as she patiently waited for the familiar patterns to emerge, something felt subtly, inexplicably different. A quiet unease, a barely perceptible ripple of concern, began to stir in her chest. Laura frowned, a small crease forming between her eyebrows, as she peered up at the sky, straining her eyes to pierce through the gathering gloom. The stars were indeed still there, scattered across the velvet expanse like countless distant diamonds. Yet their light, usually so brilliant and crisp, so vibrant and full of life, seemed undeniably dimmer, duller, almost faded. It was as if someone, somewhere, had inexplicably turned down their glow, like a celestial dimmer switch, leaving them to shine with only a fraction of their customary radiance. The usual vibrant sparkle was muted, replaced by a faint, wistful shimmer that filled her with a quiet, growing concern. just as she was about to sigh, a small sound of disappointment escaping her lips, and reluctantly close her sketchbook, resigning herself to a less-than-magical night. A tiny, exquisitely golden light flickered near her window. It began as a mere pinprick, a spark of unexpected brilliance, then steadily intensified, growing larger, brighter, pulsating with an inner vitality. It darted closer, then away, then closer again, a playful dance in the cool night air. Laura gasped softly, a little catch in her breath, her eyes widening in disbelief and wonder. It was a firefly, undeniably. But this was no ordinary, everyday firefly that she had seen twinkling in the garden on warm summer nights. This one was truly extraordinary. Its delicate, translucent wings shimmered like liquid starlight, catching the faint ambient light and reflecting it in a cascade of rainbow colors, as if woven from the very fabric of the cosmos. And its glow pulsed not randomly, but in a soft, mesmerizing musical rhythm, like a gentle, unheard melody, each pulse a silent beat in a cosmic tune. "Hello, Laura," the firefly said, its voice a soft, melodic whisper, like the gentle rustle of wind through ancient, wise leaves, or the distant, delicate chime of a tiny bell. It was so light, so ethereal, that it felt as if it were speaking directly to her heart. "I've been waiting for you, Laura. For quite some time, actually." Laura blinked slowly, trying to process the impossible. Talking firefly. And it knew her name. You know my name," she stammered, her voice hushed with overwhelming wonder, barely audible. "Of course," the firefly replied, its glowing smile widening, its voice flowing with an easy, ancient wisdom. "I've watched you, little stargazer. I've seen you draw the stars every night, with such dedication and love, capturing their beauty in your sketchbook. But tonight, as you've observed, something's wrong. Something is deeply, profoundly amiss with the light of the stars. The stardust is missing." "Stardust," Laura repeated, a new word, a new concept, swirling in her mind, sounding both magical and utterly mysterious. "What is stardust?" The firefly nodded its tiny, glowing head, its light bobbing gently. "Stardust is the very essence of the stars' brilliance. It is the shimmering, magical dust that makes them shine so brightly, that gives them their vibrant glow, their captivating twinkle. Without it, their light inevitably fades, growing weaker and weaker, until they are barely visible. And if we don't find it soon, if we don't bring it back, the entire night sky will grow dark forever, shrouded in an unending, empty blackness. The stars will simply disappear, one by one." Its glow pulsed with a hint of urgency, a quiet alarm. Laura's heart, which had been beating a slow, steady rhythm of curiosity, now began to race, thumping rapidly against her ribs, like a tiny hummingbird trapped within her chest. The thought of a dark, starless sky, empty and desolate, was almost unbearable, a nightmare made real. "But where could it have gone?" she asked, her voice filled with a desperate urgency, her eyes wide with concern. "Where does stardust go when it's missing?" The firefly flitted closer, its radiant glow illuminating the tip of her nose, its light warm and reassuring. "That's what we must discover, Laura. That is our quest. We must find its hiding place, its secret refuge. But I cannot do it alone. I need a brave, kind heart, a curious mind that loves the stars as much as you do. Will you help me? Will you come with me on this adventure?" to save the very light of the night. Laura didn't hesitate for even a single second. All thoughts of fear or bedtime rules vanished instantly, replaced by a surge of determined courage and an overwhelming desire to help. This was a real, magical quest, not just something from a book. She quickly grabbed her warm, comfortable coat from the back of her chair, its soft fabric a familiar comfort, and then reached for a small, dependable lantern from her bedside table, its glass clean and ready. Together with the firefly hovering beside her, its guiding light a steady beacon, they stepped silently, stealthily into the cool, embracing night, ready to begin their extraordinary quest to save the stars, to bring back the lost Stardust. The air seemed to hold its breath, sensing the momentous journey about to unfold. Chapter 2. The Dreaming Meadow's Secret. The firefly, its golden glow a steady, unwavering beacon in the deepening night, led Laura through the quiet, hushed streets of her sleeping town. Every house they passed seemed to be wrapped in a profound, peaceful slumber, their windows dark, their curtains drawn, little islands of dreaming in the vast ocean of night. The only sounds were the soft, rhythmic rustling of the leaves in the gentle breeze, a quiet, leafy whisper, and the distant, almost imperceptible chirping of unseen crickets, a tiny, reassuring symphony of the night. The air smelled crisp and clean, infused with the fresh, earthy scent of dew settling on the grass, wonderfully mingled with the sweet, delicate perfume of distant flowers blooming in unseen gardens. Laura's small, familiar lantern, clutched firmly in her hand, cast a warm, comforting circle of light directly around her feet, illuminating the cobblestones and the edges of the sidewalk. But the firefly's glow, ethereal and pure, was far brighter, more vibrant, more purposeful, a luminous thread pulling them ever onward. It pulsed with a quiet urgency, steadily guiding them toward the very edge of town, where the houses thinned and the open fields began. "Where are we going?" Laura whispered, her voice barely audible, hushed with a combination of wonder and a slight tremor of trepidation. The unknown stretched before them, mysterious and vast. "To the dreaming meadow," the firefly said, its voice a soft, melodic hum, like the gentle vibration of a single-tuned string. "It's a very special place, Laura, known only to those who understand the language of starlight and quiet wishes. It's where the stardust sometimes gathers, drawn by the purest, most innocent thoughts." Its light seemed to pulse with a hopeful anticipation, dancing subtly as they moved. Soon, the last of the houses faded behind them, and they reached a wide, sprawling open field, stretching out beneath the vast, silent sky. The entire meadow was bathed in a soft, ethereal silver moonlight, transforming the familiar landscape into a shimmering, dreamlike expanse. The tall grass swayed gently, whispering secrets to the breeze, and the air felt cooler here, imbued with a palpable sense of magic. Laura scanned the landscape eagerly, her eyes searching every blade of grass, every patch of shadow, hoping to see the glittering, magical dust. But the meadow was utterly empty. No shimmering particles, no faint, glittering stardust, no visible traces of magic, not even a single spark. Laura's shoulders slumped, a wave of disappointment washing over her, heavy and cold. Her initial burst of hope dwindled. "It's not here," she whispered, her voice tinged with discouragement, the words barely escaping her lips. The vast emptiness of the field seemed to mirror the emptiness in her heart. The firefly, however, did not seem disheartened. It hovered thoughtfully in the air, its light pulsing with a slow, deliberate rhythm, as if deep in concentration. "Maybe we're looking in the wrong place," it said, its voice still gentle but with a hint of quiet determination. "Stardust is tricky, Laura. It's not like ordinary dust that settles simply and predictably. Doesn't always stay where you expect. It's drawn to certain energies, certain feelings." It flew in a small, intricate circle, its light weaving patterns in the air, as if trying to reread an invisible map. It's very shy, very elusive, sometimes hiding in the most unexpected corners of the night. Laura, feeling a little weary from the walk and the mounting disappointment, sat down slowly in the cool, soft grass, feeling its dew against her fingers. She closed her eyes for a moment, thinking deeply. If she were stardust, magical and elusive, where would she hide? Where would she feel safest, most content, most drawn to? "If I were stardust," she mused aloud, her voice soft and contemplative, "where would I hide? Where would I go if I wanted to be truly safe, truly happy, truly cherished?" Just then a soft ethereal sound caught her ear, a child's laughter. It was faint, barely audible, carried on the gentle night breeze, but undeniably joyful, clear as a bell. It wasn't a loud, boisterous laugh, but a soft, contented gurgle, full of warmth and innocence. Laura's head snapped up, her eyes immediately scanning the direction from which the sound had drifted. "That came from over there," she exclaimed, a renewed spark of hope igniting in her eyes, pointing towards a cluster of distant, shadowed houses, their outlines barely visible against the dark horizon. She and the firefly, infused with new purpose, quickly followed the sound, their steps lighter, their anticipation growing with every stride. They eventually reached a small, unassuming house with a cracked window, its pane showing a tiny spiderweb-like fracture. Through this narrow opening, a sliver of faint, warm light spilled out onto the dark ground. Laura peered carefully, cautiously through the crack, her heart thumping with a mixture of curiosity and awe. Inside, illuminated by a soft, warm glow from a nightlight, a little boy lay peacefully asleep in his bed, his small face serene, a gentle, contented smile gracing his lips. As Laura watched, utterly captivated, tiny shimmering specks of light, like shimmering golden dust, floated gently above him, swirling and dancing gracefully in the air, rising and falling with his quiet, rhythmic breaths. The firefly, its glow pulsing with a sudden, profound realization, gasped audibly, a soft, astonished sound. "The stardust!" it exclaimed, its voice filled with triumph and wonder. "It's here! It's in his dreams!" Its light seemed to expand with the sheer wonder of the discovery. Laura's eyes widened even further, her mind racing to connect the pieces of this extraordinary puzzle. The revelation washed over her like a gentle, warm wave. "You mean the stardust isn't actually lost?" she asked, her voice hushed with disbelief and a dawning understanding. "It's just hiding inside children's dreams. Like a secret treasure." The firefly nodded slowly, its light affirming her realization. "Yes," it confirmed, its voice soft and resonant, filled with quiet wisdom. "When children dream happy, peaceful, joyful dreams, when their minds are filled with comfort and wonder, the stardust, attracted by that pure, radiant energy, gathers around them, drawn like moths to a gentle flame. It basks in the warmth of their happiness, absorbing their joy, and growing brighter and brighter. But lately, fewer children have been dreaming brightly, little one. Too many worries, too many anxieties, too much restlessness. That's why the stars are fading. Their source of light, their very nourishment, is being held here, trapped in slumber, not rising to the sky. Laura bit her lip, a wave of determination replacing her earlier disappointment. The magnitude of their discovery, and the immense task before them, settled firmly in her mind. "Then how do we bring the stardust back to the sky?" she asked, her voice firm with resolve. "How do we help the stars shine again, and make sure children dream brightly once more?" The firefly's glow brightened intensely, a hopeful, radiant beacon, its light dancing with renewed purpose. "We need to share our own dreams, Laura," it declared, its voice filled with profound conviction, almost a call to action. "We need to send our happiest, most comforting thoughts into the night, to awaken the stardust, to remind it where it belongs, and to help other children remember how to dream brightly. It is the only way." Laura looked at the firefly, then back at the little boy's serene face, and a new kind of magic, a magic of purpose and connection, filled her heart. Chapter 3. Awakening the Stardust. The realization, stark and clear, filled Laura with a renewed sense of urgency. The understanding of what needed to be done, and the immense responsibility that came with it, settled firmly in her young heart. She and the firefly wasted no time. With a shared glance of quiet determination, they hurried back through the silent, dew-kissed streets, their footsteps light and swift, their purpose clear. The night was growing perceptibly colder, a subtle chill creeping into the air, and above them, the stars seemed to flicker even more weakly than before, their diminished light barely piercing the velvet darkness, as if they were tiny, distant candles, pleading for help, silently crying out for their lost brilliance. Laura felt a profound connection to their silent plea, a deep empathy. They reached her house, a familiar silhouette against the moonlit sky, and slipped silently back through her window. Laura knelt softly by her bed, her movements gentle so as not to disturb the quiet of the night. She clutched her favorite stuffed bear, Barnaby, his soft, well-worn for a source of comfort and familiarity, holding him tight against her chest as if drawing strength from his presence. "How do we share our dreams?" she asked the firefly, her voice a soft, hushed whisper, tinged with wonder and a hint of uncertainty. She understood the concept, but the method, the mechanics of sending a dream, felt like a wondrous mystery. "Close your eyes, Laura," the firefly said softly, its voice a gentle, guiding melody like the rustle of silk. Its light pulsed with a soothing rhythm, surrounding her with a warm, comforting aura. "Don't think too hard, don't try too hard. Just relax, let your mind drift. And then, think of the happiest dream you've ever had, the most joyful, most wonderful, most comforting dream that has ever visited you in your sleep. Feel it in your heart, truly feel it, as if it's happening right now." Laura obeyed. She took a deep, calming breath, and slowly, deliberately, she closed her eyes. She let the sounds of the night fade, letting her mind drift back to a cherished memory, a dream that always filled her with absolute delight. She remembered with vivid clarity a dream where she could fly. Oh, how glorious that dream was! She pictured herself soaring effortlessly, gracefully, above fluffy cotton candy clouds, feeling the exhilarating rush of cool, clean air against her face, the boundless freedom stretching out before her. The stars in that dream were so incredibly close, shining with such an intense, brilliant light, that she felt as if she could simply reach out and touch them, pluck them from the sky like sparkling jewels. She felt the warmth of that memory, that pure, unadulterated joy, fill her entire chest, expanding with every breath, chasing away all thoughts of worry or doubt. It was a perfect, blissful sensation of freedom and light. Suddenly, an incredible thing happened. A soft, golden light swirled gently around her, emanating from her very being. Laura gasped softly, her eyes flying open in astonished disbelief and absolute wonder. Tiny, countless, glowing particles. It was unmistakable, it was stardust. Were lifting from her skin, rising from her clothing, from the very air around her, dancing in the air like a cloud of miniature luminous fireflies, shimmering with an ethereal beauty. They spun and twirled, rising and falling, responding to the joyful energy of her dream. "It's working!" the firefly cheered, its own light pulsing with excitement, dancing a joyful jig in the air. "You did it, Laura. Your beautiful, happy dream has awakened the stardust. Now let's send it to the sky. Let's send it back to its rightful home, where it can make the stars shine again." Laura, with trembling hands that now seemed to possess a delicate power, instinctively cupped her palms together. The floating stardust, as if drawn by an invisible magnetic force, gathered obediently within her cupped hands, coalescing into a single vibrant ball of shimmering golden light. It pulsed with an intense, inner glow, growing brighter and brighter, radiating a warmth that seeped into her skin. Carrying this precious, luminous treasure, she walked silently, carefully to her balcony, her heart thrumming with excitement and purpose. She stood there, looking up at the vast, dim expanse of the sky, her gaze full of hope. Then, with a gentle, loving breath, a soft whisper of a wish, she blew the stardust softly, delicately, into the cool night air. The golden specks, catching the subtle currents of the breeze, floated effortlessly upward, higher and higher, a shimmering stream of pure light, until they reached the distant waiting stars. As the stardust touched the celestial canvas, a breathtaking transformation began to unfold. One by one, then two by two, and then in glorious clusters, the stars began to twinkle again, their light growing stronger, brighter, more vibrant with every passing second. The muted glow was replaced by a dazzling, joyous brilliance. Laura clapped her hands together softly, a sound of pure, unadulterated delight. "It's working!" she exclaimed, a triumphant whisper escaping her lips. "It's really, truly working." "But we're not done yet, Laura," the firefly said, its voice still filled with urgency, its light urging her on. "Your dream was a wonderful start, but we need more. We need to awaken the stardust in all the other children's dreams. We need to remind them in their sleep how to dream brightly, how to share their inner light. That's how we'll make the sky shine fully again." Laura nodded, her determination firm. She understood. Their mission isn't just to find the stardust. It was to rekindle the very joy of dreaming. Together, infused with renewed purpose, they raced through the quiet, sleeping town once more, moving swiftly and silently from house to house. The firefly flitted gracefully to each darkened window, its soft, radiant glow brushing gently against the glass, a tender kiss of light. And Laura, standing just outside, her heart filled with boundless hope, whispered softly, urgently to each sleeping child, "Dream brightly, dream big. Let your happy dreams shine. Send your stardust to the sky." Slowly, magically, the air around each house began to shimmer with faint, golden light, almost imperceptible at first, then growing steadily more visible. More stardust, roused by the whispers and the firefly's gentle touch, began to rise, drifting like shimmering mist toward the vast, waiting sky. With every new stream of stardust, the stars above blazed even brighter, their light reflecting in Laura's wide, joyful eyes, turning them into pools of captured starlight. The night sky was being reborn, star by glittering star. Chapter 4. The Sky Reborn and a Lasting Promise. By the time they reached the very last house in the quiet, sleeping town, the night sky above them had transformed into a spectacle of breathtaking, dazzling beauty. It was no longer dim and subdued. It was alive with light, a magnificent, vibrant tapestry woven from countless newly awakened stars. The familiar constellations glowed vividly, their patterns standing out with crisp, brilliant clarity, like celestial jewels scattered across an endless velvet cloth. The majestic sweep of the Milky Way, once barely a faint smear, now stretched across the entire expanse of the heavens like a glorious river of diamonds, its glittering dust flowing endlessly through the cosmos. Every single star, from the smallest, shyest twinkle to the grandest, most ancient giant, blazed with renewed, joyful brilliance. The night air, though still cool, now felt profoundly different. It hummed with a quiet energy, a palpable sense of peace and triumph. Laura, feeling a pleasant weariness settling into her bones, a deep but satisfying tiredness after her extraordinary quest, finally sat down gently on a small grassy hill just outside the town, her breath coming in soft, even puffs. She leaned back, gazing up at the magnificent sky, her heart overflowing with a quiet, immense satisfaction. The firefly, its golden glow now steady and radiant, a tiny star made visible, landed softly on her shoulder. Its light felt warm and wonderfully content, a comforting presence against her cheek. "We did it," Laura whispered, her voice soft with awe, filled with the sheer wonder of their accomplishment. She couldn't take her eyes off the gloriously rejuvenated sky. The firefly, its light pulsing with gentle amusement, seemed to chuckle, a sound like the softest, happiest rustle of dry leaves. "You did it, Laura. You reminded them. You reminded the children how to dream brightly again. You helped them unlock the stardust within their own hearts." Its voice was full of admiration. Laura smiled, a genuine, joyful smile that reached her eyes, making them sparkle like the stars above. But then a quiet, lingering thought, a small worry, struck her, a tiny ripple in the vast ocean of her contentment. "What happens when morning comes?" she asked, her voice tinged with a delicate concern. "Will the stardust disappear again? Will the stars grow dim once more when the sun rises and the children wake?" The firefly gently shook its tiny luminous head, its glow unwavering. "No, Laura," it said, its voice filled with profound wisdom, reassuring her completely. "Dreams don't end when the sun rises, little one. They don't simply vanish into thin air. They stay inside us, deep within our hearts, tucked away in the quiet corners of our minds, waiting patiently like seeds for the next night. They become a part of who we are, a source of inner light and comfort. And as long as children like you keep dreaming happy, joyful, adventurous dreams, as long as they hold on to that sense of wonder, the stars will always have enough stardust to shine. The well of stardust will never run dry, because it is replenished by the boundless joy of innocent dreams. Laura leaned back even further, stretching out on the cool grass, her gaze fixed on the endless, sparkling expanse of the sky. The weight of the world, which had briefly rested on her young shoulders, lifted, replaced by a profound sense of peace. "I'll never forget this," she whispered, her voice filled with quiet wonder and gratitude. "Never, ever." The firefly's glow softened further, becoming even more gentle, almost ethereal, a tender farewell. "And I'll never forget you, Laura," it said, its voice a soft, loving whisper. "You have a brave heart and a spirit as bright as any star. But now it's truly time for you to rest. The night is deep, and your adventure has been grand." Laura yawned, a wide, contented yawn, suddenly feeling the full, comforting weight of the night's extraordinary adventure settling upon her. Her eyelids felt heavy, but not with restlessness, rather with the sweet promise of peaceful sleep. "Will I see you again?" she asked, a small, hopeful note in her voice, clinging to the last threads of their magical connection. The firefly seemed to wink at her, a tiny, playful flicker of its light. "Look for me in your dreams, Laura," it whispered, its voice filled with mystery and a loving promise. "For that is where moonbeams and stardust always meet their friends." With that, it flitted gracefully, silently, into the vast expanse of the night sky, its golden light soaring higher and higher, until it joined the countless newly brilliant stars. Laura watched until its distinctive glow blended seamlessly with the others, becoming one with the celestial tapestry. Then, clutching her precious sketchbook, a silent record of her magical journey, she tiptoed softly, quietly back to her room, her heart filled with wonder and a deep, abiding peace. Chapter 5. The Ever-Shining Magic. The very next evening, as the familiar hues of twilight once again painted the sky in soft, gentle colors, Laura found herself sitting by her window once more, just as she always did. Her beloved sketchbook lay open on her lap, ready. But tonight, everything felt profoundly different. The stars, oh, the stars! They twinkled brilliantly, each one a tiny, joyful diamond in the vast, velvet expanse, their light crisp, clear, and vibrant, as if singing a silent song of gratitude. Their brilliance filled the sky, transforming it into a living, breathing tapestry of light and wonder. Laura smiled, a deep, genuine smile that reached her eyes, making them sparkle with reflected starlight. She knew, with a certainty that settled deep in her heart, that their radiant glow was her thank you. And so, with a quiet joy, she began to draw, not just the familiar patterns of the constellations she loved, but the image of her extraordinary friend, the firefly, its golden light captured forever on the page, its wings shimmering with liquid starlight. As she worked, diligently sketching, her pencil moving softly across the paper, a soft, almost imperceptible breeze rustled the curtains near her window. It was a gentle, playful whisper that stirred the fabric. Laura glanced up, her heart giving a little hopeful flutter, half expecting, half wishing to see her shimmering friend, the magical firefly, return through the gap. But the night was quiet. A serene stillness had descended, save for the distant rhythmic chirp of crickets, a familiar, comforting lullaby of the summer evening. No golden light danced. No whispered voice called her name. Then, just as she turned back to her drawing, her pencil poised to add another detail. A tiny, almost ethereal flicker of light caught her eye. It was so faint, so delicate. It could have been merely a trick of the deepening shadow, or a reflection. But no. Outside, floating near the window, was a single solitary speck of stardust. It glowed with a soft, undeniable golden light, distinct from the distant stars. It danced gracefully in the air for a brief, magical moment, swirling in a tiny, silent ballet, before gently, mysteriously, vanishing into the vast, open night, melting into the invisible currents of the air. Laura's heart swelled with a profound, quiet joy, a warmth that spread through her chest. She knew then, with an absolute certainty that filled her entire being, that the magic wasn't gone. It wasn't a one-time event that had simply passed into memory. No, the magic was all around her, always. In the countless twinkling stars above, in the vivid, comforting landscape of her dreams, and in the quiet, joyful moments of childhood, moments just like this one, when the world whispered its secrets. The stardust, the magic, the connection, it was all permanent, woven into the very fabric of her existence. She closed her sketchbook, gently, reverently, placing her pencil carefully inside. Then, with a soft, contented sigh, she climbed into her bed, pulling her favorite quilt up to her chin, feeling its familiar weight and warmth. Her mind, no longer restless or anxious, was wonderfully, blissfully filled with visions of flying among the stars, of chasing fireflies made of pure light, of whispering encouragement to sleeping children. As she drifted off to sleep, gently, serenely, the last thing she saw through the window was the sky outside, glowing brighter than ever, a magnificent silent promise that the stardust and the dreams would always return, always replenish, always shine. And so, under a sky full of newly awakened light, a sky that mirrored the peace in her heart, Laura slept, her dreams as bright and radiant as the stars themselves, knowing she was a part of something truly magical and endless. Then, by morning, the night sky was blazing with light, constellations glowing vividly. Laura had reminded every child how to dream. She now knew the magic was all around her, in the stars in her dreams, and in the quiet, joyful moments of childhood. As she drifted off to sleep, under a sky full of light, her dreams were as bright as the stars themselves. The stardust and the dreams would always return, a silent promise from the glowing sky. Laura was never alone, connected to the endless magic of dreams and the glittering cosmos. If this story warmed your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay with us for more magical tales. And now, good night and have sweet dreams.